concentration of wealth? How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunish, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 29, Thursday sunny with a high near 45, and Friday sunny with a high near 32. Ditch the ordinary. Transform your meals with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to white balsamic vinegars and wine vinegars, they've had you covered since 2009. Family owned and located at 50th and Xerxes. Explore their offerings at vinaigrettemn.com. Elevate your taste with Vinaigrette.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio and AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me on this Wednesday evening. What a great day. It's been really nice and warm out. I saw it hit 50, which, once again, folks, we're in February, so there's something about that for sure. And then we have with us tonight, we have Mr. Adam running things over in the other room over there. How are you doing tonight, Adam?
I'm doing well, good sir. And yes, 50 degrees. The February sun, I guess, is giving me a tan at this point.
Yeah, truly.
Because to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen this many 40 to 50 degree days between December and February, ever since I've lived up here.
I think that's a good point. I think the idea is that once in a while you'll get something unseasonably warm, maybe a few days in a week or something, but it's spring out there.
It literally is. And at this point, I don't know if we're going to even get the final 4 end of March snowstorm that we normally get up here.
Yeah, no kidding. Though, and it's amazing because up in my area, I don't know what you got that snowfall from last week. I think it was at 6 inches though.
I think we ended up about 6 as well.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's pretty much all gone.
Yeah, totally. Now, Adam, how long have I known you?
We're going on about 3 years now, I believe.
I have never seen you without a hat before. I have never seen you without a hat before, and I don't know what to think, quite honestly. That's not as bad. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know what to think about this.
The nice thing is you didn't react like a lot of other people do when I forget to wear my ball cap, because I've got long hair.
Yeah.
But most people think I'm bald on top because I wear a ball cap all the time, and it's a fitted ball cap, so you can't really see anything.
No,
it's Chewbacca hair.
It's great. It's kind of like, I didn't know what to think, because it's like Darth Vader without his helmet. I mean, it just was very like, and I applaud you. You wear it well, and you don't wear it well, if you get my drift.
Well, thank you very much. And hopefully next week or the week after, it'll be long enough for me to be able to donate. I got to measure it, and then I'll have a shaved head.
Are you going to be completely bald then?
Yep, I take it down to like a 2 or a 3, but once it gets to about 10 inches, you can donate to Wigs for Kids, or I can't remember the other one now, but there's a couple of places that you can donate longer hair to create wigs for kids in chemotherapy that lose their hair. So that way, when they do go back to school, they're feeling well enough to go to school. They're not getting ridiculed or made fun of because now they're bald. I feel like, it's the least I can do, grow my hair out. Yeah, I don't like long hair, but it is nice to be able to be like, you know what? I am making somewhat of a difference in somebody's life.
You don't like long hair.
I don't.
But yet the entire time I've known you, you've had long hair.
That's because I've been trying to grow it out.
All right.
But no, I'm 43 years old. I am too old to be rocking long hair like this and not be in a rock band. And I can't play an instrument nor sing.
So when you get there, do you start again, or is this it? Is this one time and you're good, or?
This would be my 3rd time donating.
Okay.
And I'll ask my daughter, because she's the one who always puts me up to it, and she's growing her hair out again. So when I hit my 10 inches and can shave it off and be like, are we done? I'll ask her.
So just a couple things in the comments here before we get to Lynn here. Joanne says, Locks for Love. I don't know if you've heard of that.
That's the other one.
That's the other one. And then Emily says that you're a good egg, Adam. So
thank you very much, Emily.
I think that we'd all agree. Joanne also says, we donated my daughter's hair when she passed 15 inches.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Also, breaking news from meteorological circles. Emily says, evidently, it's the hottest winter ever recorded officially.
I can believe it. I totally can.
So why don't we switch gears? Because I think you and I could talk about this for hours, because we tend to kind of get on these subjects. Tonight, we are bringing back on Lynn Monet. And the reason why I have Lynn on for 3 times, because I wanted to really talk about the books that she's putting out, because they're really good books. Some of these, not some of these, all these books are great at educating us on a lot of different things when it comes to paranormal. Also, when it comes to afterlife, is something that we're going to be talking about tonight as well. We had her on Monday. We had her on a couple weeks ago. We're talking about Omnipresent, but tonight we're going to be talking about her book, Colors of Heaven: Beginnings Never End. This was published in 2022. And Lynn, welcome back to GhostBox Radio.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was excited when you invited me. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And tonight, I'm gonna do this, folks. If you had questions for Lynn on any of her books, you can put it into the comments. You can also call in, because Adam's here tonight. We have 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Certainly, call in with any questions. If you've run into anything similar that Lynn has been talking about over the course of the past 3 visits here. This isn't our last time with her. There's a lot more that we're talking about bringing her back on for. And why don't we just start with this, Lynn? The book that we're talking about tonight, Colors of Heaven: Beginnings Never End. First off, what is this about?
When my mother passed away, I saw her come out of her body and the beautiful things that transitioned. But also, I've been a nurse for 40 years. 17 of that has been in palliative and end-of-life care. So I've seen hundreds of people pass away, and different things that have, and different people having similar occurrences, transitioning into death from a physical side. And because I have the gift of second sight, I can also see the inner workings of the spirit side as well. And so that's why I wrote it, to help take the stigma of death and dying away, so that people maybe have a better understanding, and hopefully bring some comfort to people that have lost someone, or maybe somebody that's been diagnosed with a terminal illness, and just to put it out there for people to help.
It's interesting, because I feel like that's the sort of thing that when you're in those situations, that it's more meant to help, like the family, the people who are the ones who are not going to pass, opposed to the ones who will. I'm thinking, I don't know if you saw this, if you know John Yost, who we've had on the show before, talked about his UFO experiences and whatnot. And he had cancer, and he had just passed away a couple weeks ago. And the reason why I bring that up is because I don't think I've ever met anyone who had such a very calm, elongated but calm outlook on what was coming up next. And I can only imagine that family members are the ones who are worried the most about what happens to their loved ones.
That's very, very true. And just so everybody knows, we don't die. We simply shed our skin and go on. So, and the thing is too, is when somebody does pass away, people need to realize that that is not the last time that you're going to see them. You will see them again in a different form, maybe. And when your time comes to transition, and pets too, your fur babies cross over too. So you'll get to reunite with them as well.
And that's the thing too, that I mean, and that I've had on people before to talk about that. And I find that to be such, I'm kind of a monster, I guess. I find that almost more comforting than knowing that I'm going to see mom again. I just know I'm going to see mom again. I'm not, I don't want to come across as like I don't want to see mom, but to know that I see that there's two cats that I miss desperately because they don't understand what's going on, and that going to be seeing them again is of great comfort to me.
Well, don't be surprised if you have more than two cats that come, because the animals that you've had throughout many lifetimes and different galaxies, you may have a buffalo coming running up to you that was a pet of yours in another life. So your cats will be there, but all of them will be there to greet.
So and I find that very interesting. We have, let's just go with this, a buffalo, for example, and it currently I don't know of a buffalo in my life because it's so very much, this is the life I'm living. But then I transfer over to the other side. Does my memory kind of click where suddenly it's like, I know who you are. I know, maybe I have like a number of people in my life that I have been married to, different sexes, different genders, different, species. They all come forward, basically, is kind of what you're saying.
Yes, and you will recognize all of them because you won't have the limitations and the filters that we have in embodiment. And the thing is too, when your loved ones do come in to collect you, and there is a galactic part to it also, which I'll mention in a minute. Mm-hmm. They do show up in clothes, and it's a good thing because nobody wants to see mom naked. So, they do show up usually the way that you remember seeing them last, in healthy form. So if someone has passed over because of cancer and they've lost a lot of weight, you're going to remember them and greet them in their more healthier state, but usually the last way that you did see them. Now,
if when I see mom, do I see her in different forms? And what I mean by that, has some of these people been in our lives just playing different roles, so to speak, but their essence has been the same and kind of unparalleled to my life all this time?
Do you mean of her being in a spirit form paralleling you, or embodied?
Embodied. And I think what I'm trying to get at here, and I don't think I'm doing a great job with it, is that, there are like a number of people in my life currently, and they play the role of mom, dad, sister, girlfriend, whatever. But in a previous life, they were all there, but they were different roles. Like maybe say that my sister was my dad, and that, you know what I mean? It kind of, but they're all different sort of, that essence of what they are, just like the essence of what I am carries through life after life.
As when you cross over, they will present to you as they did in this most recent lifetime, because most people don't have the understanding that you have, that there are interchanging, and they kind of get that after they go through the reception and then the life review, and then they go into the hall with the veils over the cubbies of missed opportunities, and then they get the other part of it, and they then can see everybody's lives and their past lives and all of that, and where they've intermingled, and one time they were your brother, or another time they're your wife. Mm-hmm. So that shows up. But initially, because most people don't have that understanding, they come in from this lifetime first. So, and those are usually the ones that receive you, but then everybody else comes in as well. And I wanted to mention too about the galactic part of it.
Yeah.
When I saw my mother pass away, she came out of her body. Of course, my grandmother entered into the room to help her transition, and my sister that had been murdered. And I just forgot when she crossed over, there were hundreds of people in the room with her, but there were also these beings there that were very tall, white luminous hair. I mean, the ceilings were 10 feet tall, and it was like capping them at the eye where the eyebrows would be. And I'm saying the galactic part of it because everybody's right on this. We are energy, and energy can't be created or destroyed. And it would be ignorant on our part to think, with all of the stars that are sunshines for other solar systems and galaxies, that there aren't other beings somewhere else. And when those beings finish out their lifetime where they're at, they have to have some place to go to. So I'm saying this because they had a galactic element to them. They were very, very, they were just gorgeous. I mean, they didn't look male or female. They could have been either. It didn't matter, but they were radiating this love, and they walked along with the angels. Just the galactic ones didn't have wings. So your family walks along with you. These other beings are there on the other side. I'm not talking like cryptids and bug looking things. I'm talking about the beautiful entities, for lack of a better word, that are on the other side. And I thought that was very interesting, because the people that believe in the galactic side and the spiritual side, it's all combined. It's, everybody's right.
And we would living our life, being exposed to one planet, it kind of puts it puts that filter on there, doesn't it, for most everybody?
Yes, and the thing is the filters kind of set into place as a child gets after age 6. Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, when they're getting ready to cross, those filters efface. And what this does is it enables them to view through the veils between the dimensions, and they're able to see people that are in spirit form. You hear children talking about their invisible friend, and in the same token, you hear people that are getting ready to pass talking about deceased loved people that are deceased people in the room. And it's usually the embodied people that are uncomfortable with that, and they run out to get the nurse to get the medicine to shut mom up because they don't want them talking about a dead person in the room. I have an example of that if you'd like me to share it with you.
Absolutely, but what I'd like to do first, why don't we go ahead and take our first break? And I'm getting a lot of comments in the comments section as well. I feel like that this is something that that we can talk about, and we will talk about over multiple episodes. So let's do this. Take our break. When we come back, more with Lynn Monet. We're talking about the colors of heaven. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
Feeling like people just don't get the vibrant rainbow unicorn that is your celestial essence? Have you been wondering how you stepped into this infernal, mundane timeline full of muggles, NPCs, and toilet paper shortages? Here at Magus Books and Herbs, we get you, and are staffed with real-life unicorns just waiting to help you rediscover your shine. So come explore your magical side with books, herbs, incense classes, and more at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis, or online at magusbooks.com.
Twin Cities Pagan Pride is thrilled to host Pagonicon 2024, March 15th through the 17th at the Crown Plaza, Minneapolis West Hotel. Come to Pagonicon to experience deep community where people gather to learn, socialize, and get inspired. Check out all the featured guests and lists of activity at tcpaganpride.org. Pagonicon is a pagan conference offering workshops, panels, discussions, social space, music, a ball, vendors, and much more. Pagonicon is an educational and social venue for pagans, Wiccans, heathens, druids, people of other folk, craft, indigenous, and magical traditions. Come to Pagonicon to experience deep community where people gather to learn, socialize, and get inspired. Pagonicon is a safe place, not only to be yourself, but to meet other like-minded individuals. You can find more details and register today at tcpaganpride.org. Click on Pagonicon. That's tcpaganpride.org. Pagonicon 2024, March 15th through the 17th.
And I want to let everyone know, especially for our friends at Megas Books, that this Saturday is going to be all about chaos magic. If you want to go out to Megas Books over on Central Avenue, you can learn how to make sigils and the history of the movement. The stuff that they have going on over at Megas is pretty exciting, and you can find out more about what this is this weekend. You go to megasbooks.com, and please go out there. Please support them. There is a lot of great stuff going on around the cities here. So please, especially if this is something that interests you, please go and support them, because this is a great community for classes just like that. We have with us tonight, we have Lynn Monet, and we're talking about Colors of Heaven. And we got a couple, Lynn, we have a couple comments in the comments section. Imagine that, how that works. And I wanted to kind of talk about them a little bit. And once again, folks, if you have questions, feel free to call in 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's see here. Where do we want to go here? First of all, Joanne says, I was told my husband went back to 40. I didn't know him then. I don't understand that part. And is there something about spirits that because I've also heard sometimes spirits will present themselves the way that they felt like at their best or at their prime as well?
The median age on the other side is 35, for one thing. And I had a patient one time, she was a 90-year-old lady, and she was concerned about crossing over because she and her husband were married from high school, and he then got into a car accident when he was about 30 years old. And she was concerned that since she had aged and turned 90, that he would be repulsed by her appearance. And what you have to understand is the soul doesn't age. And most of the time they do present as the way that you remember them last, and they will see you. They see your soul, not your physical body. And that's what I explained to her, and she was very, very happy with that. So, and also they see you aging because they come around us. Mm-hmm. They could be in 6 places at one time simultaneously. And you will recognize them however they present. Sometimes they, usually though, they will show up the way that you remember seeing them last. And then from there they change and evolve. And once they've welcomed you back.
So I remember that sometime after my dad had passed, there was I had a dream. I kept having dreams about him, but this one I believe it was him. I don't think it was a dream of him, and he appeared to me probably in his 50s. His hair was black, not gray. He had a physical presence to him, which he hardly did before he passed. I think that I think it's really fascinating. I think it's really interesting how they present themselves, and that there's also, I think there feels like that there's some sort of like that they just want to make sure they look good, that they I find that kind of heartwarming, actually, in a sense.
It is. When my mother passed away, and there was an ectoplasmic wall that had kind of formed on the opposite side of the bed, and I could see movement on the other side. Sometimes I could see a shoulder or pant leg stick out. But as it faced towards the head of my mother's bed, my grandmother stepped in, and my grandmother looked the exact same as I saw her last. She even presented in her glasses, her little 80s curly perm, and her leisure suit that she made herself. And my sister, who was frantically waving behind my grandmother's head, who had passed away when she was 21. Her perfume just filled the room, and she looked the exact same as I remembered seeing her last as well. So, and that was comforting to me. When people, there are actually 3 different types of death. There is a near-death experience. There's sudden death and natural death, which most of us have.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, when they pass away, their spirit leaves their body early, sometimes as much as a day or 2 early, and they just wait for the physical body to finish. There are some people that stay in until the last minute. My mother was one that stayed in until the last minute. And this was obvious because even though she could no longer verbalize and she could no longer open her eyes, she would try to mouth words and her eyebrows would go up and down at the same time. And so when anybody would come in the room and say, "Hi, Phyllis," she would start mouthing and the eyebrows would go up and down, and it was appropriate. And when my grandmother came into the room and was speaking, and she was leaning forward and speaking in my mother's ear, my mother was also responding with the eyebrows and the mouthing as well, because when a person is getting ready to transition, the filters efface, and they're able to hear the telepathy, which is how they communicate on the other side, as well as the speech of the embodied people in the room.
I think it's also, I would say it's probably fair to say now, if you have a loved one in hospice and they'd say that they're starting to see like their loved ones, their parents or something, that you should probably believe them, right? I mean, I had that with my mom. She had made a decision to forego a operation. She wasn't sure what kind of state it would leave her in. The next day, she was already kind of, she wasn't the mom that I remember. But she kept talking about her mom and dad are there. Her mom and dad are there. So we had somebody else on about 2 years ago who was also a hospice worker, and just talking about that sort of thing as well, that, they're calling out to, and it doesn't seem to be a rare occurrence either.
It's not a rare occurrence. As a matter of fact, that kind of keys most people that are in tune into the fact that they're going to be transitioning even within a year's time. They sometimes see their loved ones coming in ahead of time. There was one case in particular that really, really brought it home for me. And I want to say this, the medical field calls them hallucinations, and they run in with the medication and stuff like that to make the hallucinations go away. But these people, even with the medication, are still seeing their loved ones. So they're not hallucinations. But I had a lady on my unit named Edna, and she was totally blind. She had been totally blind for 10 years, and her son and daughter come to the nurse's station and they say, "Mom's talking to people in the room that aren't there." Well, I kind of expected it. So to comfort them more so than her, because I knew she was fine, I said to them, well, let me walk down to the room with you and see if I can adjust your mom's pillow or see if I can, help her be more comfortable. And when we walked into the room, she was sitting at a slant and she was reaching up into the sky as if something very delicate was being handed to her, because she was being very careful with the way that she was handling, and she's smiling from ear to ear. And I said to her, "Edna, who's here?" And she says, "George." And her daughter had to sit down and turned as white as a sheet, because she said, "Well, George is my father, and my father's been gone for X amount of years." And then Edna pipes up and she says, "And he's glad that you're taking good care of Pixie." Pixie was Edna's poodle. When George passed away, Pixie was taken by her son because Edna, being blind, could not care for the dog. And Pixie was actually an elderly dog, but very much alive. So the son turns to me and he says, "Well, do you think my mom's hallucinating?" And I said, I can't come out as a medical professional and say, "No, I don't think your mom's hallucinating. I think your dad is actually here helping her get ready to transition." So I turned it back on him and I said, "Well, do you think she's hallucinating?" And he says, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, do you mind if I try something?" I said, "I'm not trying to change your belief system. I've seen this happen a lot with people in the years that I've been a nurse professionally dealing with this sort of thing." And he said, "Okay." And I said, "Edna, can I ask George a question?" And she nodded her head yes. And I said, "George, what color is your son's shirt?" And Edna said, "Yellow." And he was wearing a yellow Ralph Lauren polo shirt. Now, there is no way that a blind person can hallucinate. There's no way. They can't see. And George responded because he could see what color the shirt was. And he told Edna telepathically what color the shirt was. And Edna stated it. And I mean, nobody can dispute that. There's no way. How does a blind person hallucinate? They can't. They can't see. So,
it's absolutely fascinating, and I think at some point we need to blow this topic out a little bit more. A question I want to ask, though: what is heaven?
There is a place that we go to. Some people call it the other side. Some people call it heaven. There is a place that we do go to. We do go through certain steps of things. And again, as I had mentioned, there are 3 kinds of death, and they're all handled differently. Most of the time with a natural death, they come on with a reception and people greet you first. And then you have a second period of time with your pets and animals as well. And then you go into the different stages of the life review and different things that I had mentioned. And with people with like a sudden death, they don't come on with the reception right away, because a lot of times people that have had a sudden death, they're like standing next to their body waiting to crawl back in. They're the sudden death. They're like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't eat my lunch. So they have to come to terms with the fact that they have passed away and understand that they have. And usually one spirit is sent in then to help guide them. And they do then get the reception once they realize that they have passed away, and they kind of accept that. But heaven is a broad term for what all is on the other side. And the thing that's interesting about heaven, we do have homes in heaven, and with similar furniture even to what we have here. That doesn't mean that you have to stay there, because heaven kind of turns into an airport after a point. You can go off to different galaxies and different places and things like that. And or you can stay there in your home. And there's some interesting things about that too that I can share with you if you'd like.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, it's such a curious thing to me because it's like, first of all, it sounds amazing. And the first question that comes to my mind when I think about something that sounds amazing, why would we leave there to go anywhere else?
Well, because with reincarnation, there are people that have reincarnated, people that have incarnated. And the difference is that the people that incarnate volunteer to come here. They come here for a purpose. We're usually the light bearers or light anchors. And you're an incarnator, you wouldn't be having this show. And we're here to help and guide. And for some reason, we all chose to be here in this lifetime during this time frame, which we all must have been insane picking this, but we did. But that's kind of how that works. And some people believe that there are contracts, some people don't. There are certain goals that we come here to meet. So, and we help each other, and we help other people meet their goals as well. So, there's a lot more detail to it than that. And it's just there are a lot of dynamics to it.
Now that you have, that you're able to see stuff differently than a lot of us do you know your purpose on here in this life?
I know that there's a time coming up very, very soon that all of us are going to know our purpose, because I've been kind of on hold waiting as a lot of us empaths and people that have incarnated here during this time frame, and that we will know. I feel that part of my thing is to help people cross over and to not be afraid. I feel that that's part of one of my gifts. And I've been able to do that for many, 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 many people. I am a death doula, which is a person that specifically does that and helps the family also with the acceptance of the person going and have a better understanding. So I think that is one of my gifts, and the ability to see so that I can bring this information to people to help them understand and not be so afraid.
I got a question in the comments here. I want to read. I don't know if I understand it very well myself, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Emily asked the question. She put this in the comments on Monday, but do some entities practice soul harvesting for special souls?
I have talked to a demonologist about this actually, and there are some stranger things that are on standby that do sometimes harvest souls, yes. So, and there are other ones that cross over. But the thing about the harvesting of the souls that people need to understand is that at the time of death, you have freedom of choice and you can choose to cross over or not. The ones that choose not to cross over are the ones that are still wandering around. They're the ones haunting houses, and they're usually the ones that are getting soul harvested, sometimes by something darker, if that makes sense. And a lot of times too, I've been working with Dr. Jerry Marvinsky on people with schizophrenia, because they're finding that in some cases there are attachments of disembodied souls that are creating the voices that are not in their head. They're actually whispering in their ear. And some of this is part of it too, where there's a collection of them, but it's usually controlled by something darker. And that's what I consider soul harvesting.
Okay, that's very interesting. You talk about the people who haven't crossed over. Crossing over is, I don't know if you know this about me, it's one of my things I also do. I do it through Spirit Box and whatnot. And it's one of the most satisfying and rewarding things that I've ever done in my life. But the question I have with that is, from your perspective of the people who haven't crossed over, do you have a theory why? I mean, apart from the ones that aren't crossing over because grandma likes the wallpaper and she wants to make sure it stays there for as long as possible before she moves on, there are people who just don't even realize that they can cross over. Do you have a theory or understand why that might be?
Yes, absolutely. And some of them choose not to cross over because they don't feel worthy. A lot of traditional religion and the rules that are in play have led people, they doubt themselves. I had a just as a prime example, or sometimes too, there's somebody that's been watching over a loved one and they expect the loved one to cross before them, and then they end up crossing first, so they still kind of hover and then lose their way. So there are different things, but I had a patient that was actively passing, and I'm standing at my med cart, and I see peering out from around this pillar in the sitting room area, this ghost of this man who I called Dapper Dan in my book. And just to go forward, I kind of asked him, I said, well, why haven't you crossed over? I said, I can help you cross over. And he kind of came forward to my cart. And he said to me, "Milady," he had this very heavy Irish brogue, and he said, "Milady, I can't cross over. My wife and my mistress are on the other side, and neither one knew about the other." So you never know what their reason might be for not crossing.
I had one that him and his wife got in an argument, and she ended up going down the stairs and dying, and he couldn't live with that fact, and he was afraid what was waiting for him. And what actually ended up happening is that she had forgiven him some time ago, and he needed to understand that. So this is what I'd like to do. I'm going to take a break here. We have Carol on the line. Carol, if you could hold on till after break, I'd greatly appreciate it. We have a lot more to talk about, and just really, quite frankly, not enough time. This is a good place to be. We have Lynn Monet on. We're going to talk more about the colors of heaven. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Magus Books, your multicultural spiritual supply store. Stop in and expand your horizons with books, classes, readings, and supplies at magusbooks.com or in our shop at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis. From the best incense to beautiful statues, we have supplies and books for your spiritual explorations. Come in and chat with our knowledgeable staff and get what you need for your next adventure, whether you're fighting ghosts or opening your third eye. Check us out today at magusbooks.com.
February is AM 950 Listener Appreciation Month. We can't run the station without you, and we wanted to show you how much we appreciate you listening to us. How it works is pretty simple. Throughout February, we'll ask you to like posts on Facebook, sign up for our e-newsletter, and call into the shows. When you do, you'll have a chance at winning prizes like gift cards to restaurants, tickets to our listener appreciation events, and much more. It's our way of thanking you for being a listener to AM 950. You are appreciated. Thanks from everyone at the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 29, Thursday sunny with a high near 45, and Friday sunny with a high near 32. Tired of ordinary meals? Elevate your culinary experience with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to balsamic vinegars, they've been perfecting the art since 2009. A family-owned gem at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis. Visit vinaigrettemn.com for a taste of excellence.
And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We're going to be replaying the episode with Megan Hawkins with her true crime podcast, Drinking the Kool-Aid. It's a local true crime podcast, and we talk quite a bit about what cases that they've looked at, what her methodology is to presenting the information. It's a great episode, and I'm really happy to be replaying that tomorrow. Now, if you just want some live Greg tomorrow, that's also possible. I don't know if all of you out there know this or not, but Thursday I do another show that you can find on my Facebook page, GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun, called Myth or Mystery. That's at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and basically what that is, it's a panel program where we play videos and we try to look to see and get everyone who's watching for them to vote whether or not what they're looking at is a myth, which is not paranormal, a mystery, which is paranormal or unknown. And tomorrow, Beloved Pet returns to visit family after passing. That's one of the videos we're looking at. And also another video we're looking at is the deceased motorcycle owner returns to ride his bike one last time. Even though it's a video, I'm going to play the trailer for tomorrow because it's audio as well. This is what we're doing on Myth or Mystery tomorrow.
Trouble sleeping one night due to missing their mother who had passed. The owner of this video received notification of motion detected by the backyard security camera. The video captures a transparent image of what appears to be a dog taking a few steps away from the house. A stray cat comes immediately into view, as if alerted and aware of the presence. According to the video's owner, their Cocker Spaniel had passed away while sitting on her bed in the backyard. Join us as we analyze this video and others Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time,
which is 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And for those who aren't able to see the video, it's very cool. And we're going to be looking at that tomorrow. One of the highlights is my friend Ryan Headley. He is the person who goes through the videos. And if he doesn't think that it's paranormal, he breaks down in a very respectful way why he doesn't think so. He doesn't look at it and goes, well, it's not paranormal because of blah blah blah. He's very good at that. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knows tomorrow, Myth or Mystery at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch it at GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun on Facebook. We have Lynn Monet with us. We are wrapping up our discussion of her book, Colors of Heaven, and I left poor Carol waiting forever to get on the phone with us. Carol, are you still with us?
Yes.
Hi, Carol. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
What you got for us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Not very well, actually. What's your question? Do you have a question for Lynn?
Sure. Thank you, Lynn. You are fascinating. You're reassuring. It's just a wonderful night. My question is,
okay, go ahead.
I saw that you said you're a doula, that you help families help people pass over.
Yes. Yes, I am a doula. I do help people transition over as well as bring comfort to the family. It's kind of like hospice, but it's a little bit more in depth.
Unfortunately, we can't hear you. If Carol, feel free to try calling back again at 952-946-6205. We might just be having some line questions, but kind of going down her path, Lynn, that I think to some people the concept of death doula is a kind of a new one in a sense, and I feel like where Carol was going with this, and I think she's coming back on the line here. I think that she finds it. I think it brings her comfort to know about it. Is my guess. It's very interesting for sure, and I'm. Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
Sorry. The thing about death doula versus, as I had mentioned, there's hospice, and death doula also engages with the spiritual part of it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. So you've got the medical, you've got all of that, but they engage in with the spiritual part is where the death doula comes in.
It seems like that it is. It also seems like that. It's really, I mean, obviously everybody is kind of transitioning during this period, but it's a different sort of transition where you're actually the family is really transitioning with it as well. We got Carol back on the line. The connection is still a little wonky, it sounds like, but we're gonna give it a try anyway. Carol, can you hear us?
I hope this is better.
It sounds better. Yeah, thank you.
Good. My question was, you know how you do your family wish thing and you write down your requests, like what you want and all this, if you're going to, at your last, when you're going to pass. And one of the things I wrote down, and I have one daughter who truly believes with me that everything you're saying, I truly believe all that. I'm fine with passing away because I know I will be met by my husband and my family. But I have kids that just, when we've lost someone, they're just so devastated that they can't, they don't have that understanding. So I told them, I want to see if I can find somebody who can be there if that ever happens where I'm on a hospice or something, that I could have someone come in and help them see the transition. Is that something you do then? I mean, I know this is silly. I feel like I'm going to live forever, but I'm just wondering, can people actually have somebody come? Say I'm in hospice and I could have you or somebody come and help my family?
Yes, that's what we do, and I'm proud of you for having your end of life directives in order, because it makes it so much easier for the family when you can make your own decisions ahead of time, and then they just go on what you have listed. But yes, a death doula is something that's more new. So I would look for one ahead of time in your area, like Google, in your area. If I'm in your area, I'm in South Carolina, I'll be happy to come if you need me to. But it is a very beautiful and peaceful thing. And it changes the energy in the room, which is so important because we are energy, and it changes the dynamic for the family as well. And again, death has such a finality to it for most people. They don't realize that they will see the person again and that we don't die.
Yes, and that's what I believe. I know I'm just moving on, and I'm so content and at peace with it. And my one daughter is too, but I have my other kids that I know would be just totally devastated. And I don't want them to have that experience. I want them to have experience how I feel. So when you said that, I just appreciate you mentioning that, because I thought I was crazy that, I'm never going to be, I'm going to have to look up a psychic or something,
And Carol, I would recommend going to metamorphosisconnections.com and type in doula, death doula, and you should be able to find people. And before you go, Carol, I think, Lynn, the question I think that comes to me from this is, with Carol being so forthright with her beliefs and letting her family know this. I mean, that has to, I know that there's a couple family members who are just going to be devastated, and I understand the grieving process, but just even showing that you understand and that you're open, that has to do something for their grieving process in a good way, I would think.
That's what I'm hoping.
Go ahead, Carol.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that's my wish. That's because like I said, when I lost my husband, I know he saw his mom come, and I told him his army guys that he had lost in Vietnam were there meeting him, his brothers. There was a little boy who met him, who I have no idea who that was, and I kept saying, he's okay. And my one daughter to this day is still grieving so heavily for her dad.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for my kids when I go. I want them to know that, hey, I'm rejoicing. I'm going to miss you, but hey, it's going to be fine.
And you're always with them. You're going to always be able to watch over them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I told them, and if you aren't doing something, you'll feel a little kick in the butt. You're going to know your mom's around.
You know,
but
the thing is too is you can make a pact with your family, and to people when they are on the other side, they can move things that are light, like feathers. My mother, when she passed away, we had an agreement that she had very, very long, luminescent, pearlescent hair, that she would leave one of her hairs. And to this day, I've even moved twice. Thanksgiving, I found one of her hairs over a chair seat in my dining room. My sister, who passed away, leaves feathers. So, I mean, parrot feathers, not just feathers, parrot feathers. I don't have any birds in my house.
So that you wouldn't expect. Yeah.
Yes. So you can make a pact with them so that they know, because sometimes they need something more physical to know that you're there especially during stressful times. You can pick something with them, make an agreement, you pick a ladybug, pick something. And it even applies. It doesn't have to be a real ladybug, although they will see ladybugs during times of the year that they're not supposed to be around, but also turning a magazine or having somebody pass you with a t-shirt on with a ladybug on it. It's you letting them know that you are present with them in that moment. And I think that brings comfort to people to have something more physical to,
right.
So when you're on the other side, you can actually tell them ladybug, and I would be able to actually do that for them. I will be able to make that.
You tell them ahead of time. You tell them before you die. You make that pact.
Oh, I appreciate everything. You're just a fabulous speaker, and you've been so reassuring. And I thank you for your help on this. I'm so excited that now I can I don't plan on going anywhere, but I'm such a caretaker with my kids that I want to make sure they're.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. Really
Thank
appreciate
you so much. You're a wonderful guest.
Bye-bye. Oh, thank you.
And we'll just keep it going. Lynn, we got another call. We have Emily that would like to talk with us too. Emily, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, about as good as I'll ever be. I have food, so I'm totally good.
What you got tonight?
It's really quick, I promise.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. So my question was, and I asked it in the comments, but I know there's a ton of comments, which is great. Anyways, so my question was, can living souls recognize living souls? Like, sometimes you meet people and you're like, oh, like this is for me. Like I'm at home,
Yes. Those are the people that you connect with, and you have that deja vu moment where you feel like you've known them for a very, very long time. And you have. They're old souls. You guys made an agreement on the other side before you came down that you would meet at that moment for whatever purpose, either you needing something or them needing something from you and that guidance. But yes, absolutely. Souls do connect here, and they do recognize one another.
That is amazing and beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It makes it like there's a point to the world or something with talk like that. I mean, I don't know. It's very.
I mean, that combined with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Ooh, I want one. I love those.
Right?
And it's like they talk about too, like twin flames and people, their soulmates, and it's that kind of thing too. It's just that connection. You know it when you have it. So yeah.
Well, I've talked to and Emily, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
I've talked to people. I've talked to psychics who are like, I personally don't believe in twin flame. I don't believe it. I think they're the ones who've not had a great life. I hate to be kind of a sourpuss about it, but when you get people who are like, I don't necessarily believe in that, and like, because you've never experienced it. Brad says in the comments, my best friend, the moment I met her, I recognized her soul. So isn't that sweet? So
Yeah, and I have a feeling about that. I have a feeling that she was a brother to you in a past life, by the way. You were connected in family in some way.
A brother to Brad, not me, right?
No, brother to Brad, yes. But Brad wasn't Brad then. So
I don't think Brad's Brad now. I know him. I don't know what he is, but he's something else, that's for sure. It's really interesting. Now, as we're kind of wrapping up here real fast, we have about a minute left. What else are you working on at the moment?
I'm currently working on, I have the Omnipresent, which is going to end up being a 5-book series. I've just finished 111 Becadon Drive. I'm working on Omnipresent, Known Place Like Home, which is in reference to elementals and alien things, and also soul harvesting, like that one person asked, because elementals do that. And I'm going to be doing a follow-up to Colors of Heaven, hopefully to bring more comfort to people. And somebody just recently approached me also on doing one on removing attachments on people with mental illness and other issues, and the preparation that goes with it. And people need to have the understanding of what all it involves so that it can be effective.
Once again, there's a lot of these great books. I recommend please go and support Lynn by getting these books, because it's very clear that there's a lot of people who find these topics really helpful, and you can get her books over at lynnmonet.com, to the point that you're going to even sign them, aren't you?
Yes, I'll personalize them for you and sign them.
That's awesome. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Tomorrow is going to be Megan Hawkins talking about drinking the Kool-Aid, but please don't forget to go and check me out on Myth or Mystery at 9 p.m. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate everything.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And we're going to have you on again. There's a lot more to talk about. Everyone, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow, but I'll be back in studio on Friday. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Hi, it's Matt McNeil. Listen to the Matt McNeil Show from 3 until 5 weekdays.